Yes, the Atlanta Hawks are finally done rebuilding. They had more money than anyone in free agency and spent for a playoff push. The media likes what they did. Fans love it. This video explains why I hate what Atlanta did and how I just can't see them making the postseason. Hey, it's Casey. Welcome to AM Hoops. Hit subscribe and notification bells. And look, I just have to say, I'm not being a hater. I had some Hawks fan the other day online tell me that I'm just a hater. It's like, I'm not gonna be a fan of your team. Like, I'm not just a fanboy of every team explaining how great everything is. Last year I was down on the Hawks. They had the second worst record in the league. So I'm just trying to be real here. And when they actually make smart, really good moves, I'm gonna give them credit. But for now, the Hawks had $44 million to spend, and here's what they got. Danilo Gallinari, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Kris Dunn, and Rajon Rondo. They drafted Onyeka Okongwu and Skylar Mays. I'm not saying it's all bad. The Hawks needed better wing offense after Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter's slow starts. They needed to improve at center, and Okongwu plus Clint Capela do that. Backup point guard was awful. Rondo is there and literally just won a chip. So yes, they will be better than the second worst team in the East, but none of those players are the reason a team ever makes the playoffs. Gallo is good, but he's never been an all-star. Bogdanovic missed the playoffs with De'Aaron Fox and Buddy Hield. Rondo is the closest thing to a winning player, but he's not Chris Paul. I feel like just because Rondo is a veteran playmaker who will lead a young team, people think he's going to be what CP3 was to the Thunder last year. Not even close. Rondo won another chip, so people have forgotten what he's been the last decade. A questionable teammate. Drama followed him from the Mavericks to the Kings to the Bulls. At best, Rondo is an inconsistent player who's great in the playoffs, not the reason a team gets there. The Hawks improved mostly on offense this offseason. They don't need that. Last year, the Hawks were tied as the 6th highest scoring team in the East. They literally scored 1 point less per game than the 2 seed Toronto Raptors. How does 1 point per game separate the number 2 seed and the second worst team in the conference? It doesn't. It's defense. This team actually got worse defensively in some spots. According to advanced analytics on Basketball Index, Bogdanovic was in the 15th percentile on defense last year, really below average. The net rating of Bogey and De'Aaron Fox was minus 4.1. Two great offensive players, one of the worst two-man combos in the league. How is that going to look with Trae Young, who's worse than De'Aaron Fox? Not good. And that's just Bogdanovic. Gallinari and Rondo don't improve Atlanta on defense. Yes, Onyeka Okongwu was an elite rim protector at USC, but that was college. Asking a rookie to perform at that level is unfair. Just look at Reddish and Hunter at the beginning of last year. Okongwu will back up Clint Capela, but Capela is just slightly above average on D, not elite. Solomon Hill and Tony Snell are good defenders, but they're not going to get a ton of minutes. Kris Dunn, same deal. Elite defensively, but won't play a lot because he's so bad on offense. So clearly, it will be up to head coach Lloyd Pierce to quickly figure out what lineups work, not just to score points, but to win games. And I think one thing that will surprise people is that Danilo Gallinari will come off the bench. I know, paying about $20 million for a backup sounds insane, but a 3-man group of Trae, Bogey, and Gallo is a nightmare defensively. I think the depth chart looks like this. At point guard, Trae Young with Rondo off the bench. Shooting guard, Bogdanovic with Kevin Huerter, then Kris Dunn. Small forward, Cam Reddish starts, then DeAndre Hunter. Power forward, John Collins with Gallinari the backup. And center, Clint Capela, then Onyeka Okongwu. So clearly, there are a lot of players here, but that's a good thing. They have 17 guys going into training camp, which I love because they'll compete. Last year, Cam Reddish and DeAndre Hunter started most games, but now they will compete for those minutes, which makes them better. The problem, though, with so many players is chemistry. Teams bringing a lot of players back will benefit from a short 72-game season. The season starts December 22nd. it will be really tough for Coach Pierce to figure out what lineups work best. So I do not think the Atlanta Hawks will make the postseason this coming year, which is a big disappointment because I like that team and it will be an upset. But for the people who disagree with me, who's going to be left out from last season? One team from last year will have to be out. I think the top 7 teams, though, are basically a lock in the Eastern Conference. That's the Bucks, the Raptors, Celtics, Pacers, Heat, Sixers, and Nets are in. So that leaves, for the 8th seed, the Magic, Hornets, Wizards, Bulls, Knicks, Pistons, Hawks, and Cavaliers. 8 teams battling for one playoff spot. We can knock out the Cavs, the Pistons, and the Knicks immediately. Sorry, guys. The Magic, though, have made the playoffs in back-to-back years. They didn't get much better, or much worse. Yes, they lost Jonathan Isaac to an ACL, but not having DJ Augustin is not a big deal for how he played last year. The Hornets were one spot out of the playoffs, and they got a lot better. I was a huge fan of paying Gordon Hayward a lot to lead that up-and-coming team. The Wizards are chaotic, but they have hopes with John Wall and Bradley Beal. The Bulls are a much better team than last season. I think the most underrated vet in the East coming back is Otto Porter Jr. I see a big contribution from him and a great trade chip for Chicago. I think, though, the Charlotte Hornets will make that 8th spot, not the Hawks. The Hornets may have paid a lot for Gordon Hayward, but now their #1 player is a vet, a former All-Star who has led teams to the playoffs in the West. Now, I know a lot of you are going to disagree with me, but the great thing about sports and all these predictions is we will see who is right in the end. But if I'm right, I think a lot of big changes are coming in Atlanta. John Collins will get traded if things go wrong. This has been a rumor for a while, but after they traded for Gallinari and didn't extend John Collins, he will be the first to go if things go wrong. I think trading Collins to the Celtics for Marcus Smart, a 2021 first and 2022 second could work. Smart is one of the best perimeter defenders in the league, and unlike Kris Dunn, he contributes offensively and would see the floor. Yes, Boston got Tristan Thompson, but Collins is more on the Celtics timeline, and they need talent at that position. I've heard Hawks trades for like Bradley Beal, but they don't need more offense. A Marcus Smart trade is a win-now move. Again, for all the commenters, I am not a hater and I'm definitely not rooting against the Hawks. I mean, if I'm right, Lloyd Pierce will lose his job, which sucks. I just really did not like what they did in the offseason with all that cap space, and I really think they'll miss the playoffs again. Support AM Hoops and click subscribe. Don't miss a daily NBA video.